Hey guys, in this video, I'll be going over some of the most memorable comebacks in bodybuilding history. I'll be covering some of the most popular comebacks in recent times, as well as some from a long time ago. This video is going to be more so of a fun review as opposed to a serious critique, so I want you guys to keep that in mind. Also, I'm not necessarily focusing on purely successful comebacks, as there will be some legendary competitors who came back and didn't necessarily win. Now, before the video does start, if you guys are enjoying my content, a like and sub would be much appreciated, and with that all being said, let's get into this video. Alright, let's start off this video with some old school comebacks. The first one I can think of is Arnold Schwarzenegger's 1980 Mr. Olympia return. Filled with tons of controversy from the start, Arnold's comeback to the Olympia stage after 5 years with less than 24 hours of notice was nothing short of insanity. Fans and competitors alike were completely shocked to see him return, when almost nobody could have predicted this to happen. As many of you know, he would go on to win this show to gain his 7th debatable Mr. Olympia win. Regardless of your stance on the show, I think this was an objectively memorable comeback. Everyone loved and does still love Arnold, so seeing him on stage must have been a real treat and a great surprise for those who hadn't seen him before. Because I'm talking about the 1980 Mr. Olympia, some of you may be wondering about the 1981 Mr. Olympia, in which Franco Columbo made his return and won in a similarly controversial manner, if not more controversial in my personal opinion. Now, this comeback was not really impressive at all, and I don't think he should have won the Olympia due to his completely out of shape lower half. There were so many others that could have won this Olympia, like Tom Platz or Chris Dickerson, and there really isn't an argument for him winning other than politics. Arnold in 1980 came in about, 70 or 85% of his 1975 version. However, Franco came in at 50% of his last showing. It's definitely worth mentioning. However, I don't think Franco's 1981 comeback is memorable for a good reason. Sticking with the golden era, I think Sergio Lea's return to the 1984 Mr. Olympia stage has got to be one of my personal favorites from this time period. I've always been a huge Sergio fan, regarding his genetics to be among the best of the best, so seeing the shape that he came in after more than a decade away was super impressive. Absolutely massive arms still, really small waist and outrageous proportions, all of which reflect that true golden era look. Sure, he didn't go on to win the Olympia, placing 8th at the Olympia both in 1984 and 85. However, his return was something special for the fans and fully displayed his great genetics and longevity. Like Arnold's return, seeing any great of the sport come back and put on a very solid showing will always be something that I appreciate. Okay, moving into the 1990s, we have another golden era competitor making his comeback to the 1992 Mr. Olympia, and that would be Lou Ferrigno. Like Arnold, Sergio, and Franco, Lou has got to be up there with one of the most iconic figures in bodybuilding. So seeing him make a return to the stage after almost 2 decades away was really cool to see. Now, did anyone necessarily expect him to win? I don't really think so. However, he did come in pretty good shape, boasting great muscularity on that massive frame, and pretty impressive conditioning considering that he competed in a different era where conditioning wasn't as important. I will say that I am a bit disappointed that he didn't win the 1994 Masters Olympia, coming in second next to Robbie Robinson, which is still pretty impressive. Regardless, seeing Lou make a return to the stage in an improved state was still amazing, especially because of the amount of time that he had taken off. This might just truly be the most memorable comeback of all time, Jay Cutler's 2009 return. This legendary comeback really needs no introduction, however, I'm going to give it one anyways. Now, in my opinion, one shared by many others as well, Jay had sort of been on the decline, physique-wise, after 2006. His waistline was growing a lot larger, his symmetry was becoming worse, and his conditioning was regressing. It got so bad that he lost the title to Dexter Jackson in 2008, and many thought he was done. Some didn't even have him in their top 5s for 2009. So when Jay came in with arguably his best package of all time, almost everyone was shocked and in awe. He had perfectly strided quads, some of the best ever in my opinion, insanely dry and grainy conditioning, and mass for days. He smoked everyone on that stage, dominating in sheer width and size, and of course that quad stomp really just sealed the deal. This has got to be one of my personal favorite comebacks, since this one was one of those, absolutely clear-cut wins where there really was no debate to be had. Jay still holds the title of being the only one to win the Olympia, lose it, and then regain it again, a title that someone could also potentially hold in 2024. Not saying it's, going to happen, but I think Hottie might be able to break that record. Speaking of Jay, I thought it would be cool to put in an honorable mention for Ronnie Coleman at the 2012 Masters Olympia, or at least I think that's where it was. Not really a comeback per se, since he didn't compete, however, he did wear posing trunks and fully guest pose. Sure, he wasn't anywhere near the size of his past self, nor in, spectacular shape. However, I still thought that this was one of the best videos of Ronnie, purely based on his love for bodybuilding, that it's on full display in the video. While he was clearly not in IFBB Pro shape, he was still training hard and looked very big, and I think seeing an 8 times Olympia winner pose, regardless of their state, would be a fun experience. Okay, this next comeback is definitely going to be a fan favorite, as Kevin Lerone's return to the Olympia in 2016 brought a lot of hype to the show. I remember seeing the athletes talk right before the show, where Kevin and Cedric posed down before the Olympia, and just being shocked at how complete Kevin's upper half looked. In terms of that upper body, he might have just replicated, a late stage Kevin Lerone like 2002 or 2003, with some additional muscle maturity, which looked pretty good. His arms were top tier still, his midsection was pretty decent, in all but the front double in my opinion, and his back wasn't all too bad, and he also posed really well. Speaking of his posing, he posed to one of his most memorable songs, and it was really just a well-executed and memorable routine to watch. Definitely go check it out with the sound, it's really great. Now, of course he didn't win the show, nor did anyone really think he could, but I think the most impressive thing was seeing him come back, a recurring theme that you guys might have noticed throughout this video. 13 years away from the stage, basically a half a year of training, and coming in with a pretty good physique is definitely commendable and must have been really enjoyable to see live. Flex Wheeler's comeback to the 2017 Classic Physique Mr. Olympia brought similar excitement to the show as Kevin's. Everyone was anticipating this comeback, as Flex has got to be one of the most legendary figures in bodybuilding history. That 1999 British Grand Prix or the video of him taking second to Ronnie in 1998 are so iconic. He had so many iconic moments, guys. One of the best bodybuilders ever. And so obviously many were really curious to see what type of damage he could do at the Olympia. Leading into the show, there were many people picking apart his physique, especially in the physique updates that he was posting, saying that his forearms were ridiculously small, or that he wouldn't even compare to the new guys. These were pretty fair and legitimate claims, as his forearms looked really small relative to his biceps and triceps. However, on stage, he actually looked pretty proportional and really symmetrical. He brought a pretty good package to the stage, showcasing his trademark aesthetics and shape after almost 15 years off. This comeback is a bit controversial though, as he had a lot of health problems which led to his eventual retirement, and I think it was 2003. So the concern for his health was obviously warranted from many of his fans. As we all know, he now lost a leg and has numerous problems with his body. However, if he felt that this was the right decision, then I respect it. All I know is that he worked very hard and made a statement that he could come back and showcase a very respectable physique. The last comeback I'll be looking at is Phil Heath's 2020 return to the stage. Unlike Jay, Phil was unable to reclaim his title, however, he did bring a really good physique and overall package. His midsection was arguably better than 2018, and he still retained a lot of mass and 3D roundness. Sure, his back and overall physique had lost some pop and conditioning, however, he was still good enough to place third in the world, which is still very impressive. There really isn't much else to say about this return because it was so recent. However, what I will say is that, we could possibly see a return in the future, which would be really cool because seeing a 7-time Mr. Olympia champion come back and fight for 8, that record, top tier number of 8 Mr. Olympia wins, if he could do that, I would probably get tickets to the Olympia. One of my favorite bodybuilders in a very solid, competitive comeback physique. Alright guys, that about does it for this video. Let me know down below if there are any comebacks that I missed or that you think should be on the list. Also, let me know if you guys liked this kind of video, and if you did, if you want to see me do more commentary style videos or talking style videos, please let me know down below. With that all being said though, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.